Oh, dear. What? Liz? Liz, you're here? Liz? I didn't even.
Hi, Miss.
I was worried about you. I was like, no, she left me and she didn't even say bye.
No, I didn't leave you.
Okay. All right. You're still here. Good to know. Good to know. Okay. And get everyone else. This is so much better than that other crappy platform you're trying to make me use. I'm gonna see you found your way here without any problems. See? Zoom is the way. Your skin will close away. Do you want to do that? Not sure. I think so. Do I need to? Yeah. Yeah, I do. Why? I want to see my files. Look at all those. Well, go back to, no, I didn't type this out. Okay, come back. Going on with the radical equations. Yes, see, normal, see. Looks normal, feels normal. It is. Okay. So I kind of have the square root thing on one side. So what I'm gonna do is I'm still gonna square both sides. It's just gonna be a little more involved. So the square root of y minus 8 squared takes away the square root sign, leaves me with y minus 8 equals square root of y minus 2 times the square root of y minus 2. So square root of y times square root of y takes out the y out of the square root thing. That's y. Minus 2 times minus 2 is plus 4. Negative 2 times square root of y, negative 2 root y. Square root of y times negative 2 is another negative 2 root y. You clean it up a little bit. Y plus 4. These are 2 minus 2 y's, so that's minus 4 square root of y. Now I want to get the square root thing by itself. Move everyone else over. 1. Move the 4 over. That's what I can do. So now I have the square root on one side by itself. I'm going to square both sides. So negative 12 times negative 12 equals negative 4 square root of y times negative 4 square root of y. 144 equals outside times outside. So negative 4 times negative 4 is positive 16 times square root of y times square root of y does this and takes away the square root sign. Just leaves me with y. Divide both sides by 16. I don't know, it's 144 divisible by 16. Okay, that's divisible by 4, both of them. Let me just make it easier for myself. I'm going to divide by 4 first. So 4y equals 36. Yes, 36. And then I'll divide by 4 again, because I didn't know how to divide by 16 at the first time. So I have 9 equals 1. Okay. That wasn't that. Y plus 2 equals square root of 6y plus 7. The same thing, I want to square both sides because I want to get rid of that square root sign. I'm going to square this side. Down and square this side. It's just a little more involved. Now I have like that binomial thing squared and it's kind of long. Y plus 2 times y plus 2 equals squaring the square root, gets rid of the radical sign. And I have 6y plus 7. Y times y squared. 2 times 2, 4. Plus 2y plus 2y equals 6y plus 7. Clean it up a little bit. Y squared plus 4 plus 4y equals 6y plus 7. Minus 6y. Trying to get everything on one side and a 0 on the other side so I can do that factor thing, the 0 product rule. Minus 2y equals 7. Put the 7 over. You can take them both over at the same time if you're nice like that. I am not, so I'll take it over one at a time. Minus 2y equals 0. I just changed the order between these so I can factor it nicely. Y squared minus 2y minus 3 equals 0. Really hope this factors. Okay, my second sign is negative, which means I'll have two different signs, a minus and a plus. My first sign is negative, so that means I need the larger factor to be negative. So for 3, I need two numbers that multiply to give me 3. Thank goodness there's only one choice. And the difference is 2, but I need the larger of the factors to be negative. So I'm going to put the 3 by the negative sign. And now I'm going to set each of those factors, equal to 0. So y minus 3 equals 0. Is that me doing that? Somebody else is doing that. That's okay. Y equals 3. And y plus 1 equals 0. Y equals negative 1. Okay. Let's wrap this thing up here. We're going to post the test Wednesday afternoon. Maybe I'll post it tomorrow afternoon. But the test will be 15 questions, and I'll send you a breakdown and remind of, how many questions are on this, how many questions are on that. And then I'll post the practice test. Remember, you don't have to do any of the homework if you don't want to. I just got choices. If you take the practice test and get a B or better, I will go back and pretend that you did all the homework and you got 100 on all of it. Okay. Okay, so now I'm just with the eyes because we gotta start working with complex numbers. Complex numbers are what they call this eye person. Remember, keep our little cheat sheet here. So I squared equals -1, and the square root of -1 is equal to I. Okay. So I like to break this down as taking the -1 out and separating it from the regular number part. So I'll do -1 times 81. The square root of 16, because we're still back to knowing our square roots and cube roots. The square root of 16 is 4. So the 4 is going to come out and multiply with the 5 I already have out there, leaving with the square root of -1. Square root of 81 is 9. So 9 is going to come out and leave me with the square root of -1. Then I go over here and I say, square root of -1, what the heck is that? That equals I. So every time I see the square root of -1, I plug in an I. Nine I plus 20I is 29I. Done. Feel free to talk to me if you have questions or Just want to say that, Miss, your handwriting has really improved over the semester. You could say things like that too, because it has. Two times the square root of -3 times -4 square root of -54. I'm going to rewrite it as 2 times the square root of -1 times the square root of 3. And -4 times the square root of -1 times the square root of 54. Fifty-four is 9 times 6. 9 times 6. So I'm going to rewrite this as 2 I is square root of -1. 2I, how ugly is this? -3. I'm going to switch that. And -4 times I times the 3 is going to come out and leave me with the square root of 6. So let me write it properly. It will be 2 square root of 3I, because he likes to be at the end by himself. He doesn't really like people. Times -12 square root of 6I with me so far? And that's it. You can't do well. And I suppose you could multiply these. And you would have 2 times -12 is -24. Square root of 3 times square root of 6 is the square root of 18. I times I is I squared. Oh, my notes, hold on. So I have the square root of 18 is really the square root of 9 times 2. But I try to break it down into perfect squares when I can. Post-it note says I squared equals -1, and the square root of -1 equals I. So every time I see I squared, I'm going to go in and make it -1. So I have -1 times -24 times the square root of 9 times 2. So outside of the square root, I have 24 times the square root of 3 times 3 times 2. This is just a lot of playing around with multiplication. My 3 is going to come out. So I have 24 times 3. Left inside the square root is the square root of 2. 24 times 3 is 72. So 72 square root of 2 is our answer. Let's see. Let's see. The square root of negative 24 divided by the square root of 6. This is a square root on the bottom. So I'm gonna multiply it by my problem. My problem is the square root of the bottom. I can't have that. I'm multiplying by the square root of 6 over the square root of 6. Hi, Bridget. Okay, square root of 6 times square root over the square root of 6. So that does this for me on the bottom. It takes away my radical sign. Leaving just a 6, which fixes my problem. And on the top, I have square root of negative 1 times the square root of 24. Times the square root of 6. So on the top, I have square root of negative 1 becomes an I. I have the square root of 24 times 6. And the I. On the bottom, I have 6. I'm going to try to write all the factors of 24 and 6. 24 is 6 times 4. I'm trying to get a perfect square anytime I can. So 4 times 6, which is 3 times 2. And this 6 is also 3 times 2. This I is still here. So now some people can come out of the radical sign. A 2 can come out. Another 2 can come out. 3 can come out. And there's no one left in there. And I still have that I over 6. So 4 times 3 is 12. I over 6, which is 2I. That was really bad. I'll wait till next. Let's share the shortcut so you're not so mad today. Yeah. Okay, let me try the shortcut real quick. Okay, I only have 40 minutes. Okay, so the square root of negative 24 over the square root of 6. 6 into negative 24 is minus 4, which is negative 1 times square root of 4, which is 2I. Is negative 1, square root of negative 1 is gives me the I. Square root of 4 is 2. And that's 2. Let's see. 2 plus 7i times 2 minus 7. Two times 2 is 4. 7i times 7i times minus 7i is minus 49i squared. 7i times 2, 14i. 2 times minus 7i minus 14i. My little post-it, where it says I squared equals -1, and the square root of -1 equals I. So 4 minus 49 times -1, right? I squared equals -1. 1 here, and then we say that I squared equals -1. These are gone because 14i minus 14i cancel each other out. So now I have 4 minus 49 times -1 is plus 49. 49 times 4, 53. You just have to get like a little semi-permanent tattoo of this would be helpful. And it'll last for 6 weeks. You'll be fine to the end of the class. Four plus I over 3i. Rationalize. Why do I have to rationalize? Because I is really equal to the square root of -1, and you can't have square roots on the bottom. So what are you going to multiply by to get rid of that? I'm going to multiply by minus 3i. I'm going to multiply by minus 3i over minus 3i. So on the top, I have minus 3i times 4 plus I. And on the bottom, I have minus 9i squared. I squared equals -1. So on the top, I have minus 12i minus 3i squared over minus 9i squared. And I squared is equal to -1. So when I see I squared, I'm going to multiply it by -1. So on the top, I have minus 12i plus 3. And on the bottom, I have 9. And now, oh my goodness, I have 10 minutes. Jeez. And I can do this because there's no square roots here. So if there's something that will go into 3, will go into 12, and will go into 9, I can simplify these. So I'm going to divide them all by 3. Because 3 can go into all of them. So I have -12 divided by 3 is -4. The I is still there. Plus 1 over 3. And I'm just going to write my answer like the way the math people like to see it. They want to see the I last. So 1 minus 4i over 3. I'm going to do the distance formula because that's going to be on there too. Distance formula. Let's see. Can you find the distance from this point to this point? Or from this point to this point? I know it looks curvy, but pretend it's straight. I can either count the spaces. Because life is about choices. You can count the spaces on the graph, which will take you a long time if you have a long line. But I can do that. The distance from this one looks like 2. Is 3 units. So this is 3 units long. And this one is 5 units long. You can also use a formula. Let me see what this is. Distance equals the square root of, you're gonna have an x and y. Remember like slope, oh, we had x1, y1. Yeah, that's coming back. And 0.1 and 0.2. It doesn't matter the order, you just have to be consistent. If you're doing 0.1, then make sure you do 1 minus 2, 1 minus 2. If you're starting with 0.2, make sure you do 2 minus 1, 2 minus 1. And it's the second point, or the second, the second coordinate minus the first one squared plus the other side. So how far is, let's see, -1, -7 from -9, -8. Yes, I put all minuses because the hardest part to do is when they're all minuses. If we can do that, then we'll be good with the rest of the stuff. So this is my first point. So I'll do x1, y1. This is my second point. So x2, y2. And then I'm going to just plug in and follow the formula. The distance equals the square root of x2 minus x1 squared plus y2 minus y1 squared. -9 plus 1 is -8. -8 squared is 64. -8 plus 7 is -1. -1 squared is 1. So the distance equals the square root of 65. There's no number that I can 5 times 13, not helpful. So the distance stays at the square root of 65. I have to give you the notes. You guys want to go on another Zoom? Like, want me to log off and log back on? Are you tired of this already? If you want, I'll finish the notes and I'll email them to you tomorrow. That way you can see, because I would like to take my time and have a decent graph. The homework is on Pearson. Emailed it to you. I put on remind. And that's it. You guys have any questions? Are you guys even listening? Okay, email notes. Thank you. I like my notes when I email. Because I'm talking to myself anyway. So okay. All right, so I'll finish up the notes tomorrow and then I'll email them to you. Okay. Bye. See you Wednesday in class. Thank you.